What's going on, everybody? It's Austin Got Figs, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be giving a rundown on this week's Raw, and I'm pretty much just gonna give a recap about it, give my thoughts and opinions on everything that had happened. And obviously, if you guys disagree with anything, you can obviously leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you do like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and even turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I post a video. But without further ado, let's jump right into this Raw recap. Alright, so to start off this week's episode of Raw, we did have Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio to kick it off. Now, before I talk about everything that really happened in the promo, I just want to say I don't think this was I just don't think this was the greatest little promo that we've ever had from Liv Morgan, and this definitely wasn't one of the greatest intros to a show that we've ever had. But getting down to the actual promo that we did see at the start of the show, Liv Morgan basically obviously came out with Dominic Mysterio, continued to just talk bad about Nikki Bella, who obviously is basically a legend kind of now at this point in the women's division. I mean, she paved the way. Practically. So Liv Morgan obviously attacked her last week, and now this week she continued to just talk trash on Nikki, which continues to build obviously more hatred from Liv to Nikki, and just continues to build more tension between those two. Liv Morgan had also mentioned that she wants respect, but this time she's not just here to ask for it, she's actually demanding it this time. So I thought that was cool, kind of opening up more to a I would say ruthless, kind of maybe ruthless side of Liv here that we had seen here. She said obviously to start demanding respect. She did actually say that her first goal was to obviously take back what's rightfully hers, and that being the Women's World Championship, which obviously caused Io Sky to obviously come on down to the ring. Now, this part of the promo here is where I thought things just kind of like took it down, like went downward, you know. So yeah, Io Sky came out, and Liv basically said a couple times actually she had stated that we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way being you just hand me the title right here, right now. I mean, Liv Morgan had said that to Io that you already know that I've beaten you. I'm the only woman back there that's beaten you as many times as I have. So you might as well just hand me the title over now, and we can just do this the easy way. So that they kind of went back and forth on that for a little while. And then Io had obviously said that I'm not giving you this because you have to earn it. And then again, pretty much Liv just said the same thing. Just give me the title now. We can do this the easy way. And then Io had said you want it, and then she had tossed the title over to Liv, and then she obviously gave her a drop kick, which caused Liv to roll out of the ring. And Dominic also got kicked by Io Sky as well, and that sent both Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan back to the locker room. And then that was really the end of the start of the show. So like I said, as far as this intro and just overall promo goes, I wasn't a big fan of it. I just didn't think it was that great. It wasn't sloppy. I just didn't personally care for it too much, but it was cool obviously to see more of a, like I said, kind of like a ruthless side of Liv, kind of, you know, with obviously demanding respect, of course. But yeah, as far as just an intro to a show, wasn't a huge fan of it. But now let's jump into the next part of the show. Alright, moving on to our first match of this Monday Night Raw. We did have the last first round Queen of the Ring qualifier between Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, Ivy Nile, and Stephanie Vauquer. Unfortunately, Stephanie Vauquer did not win, which is who I was hoping would win. But obviously that did not end up happening, and the returning Asuka actually ended up winning and advancing to the semifinals, who she will then face Alexa Bliss on this coming SmackDown. Now, let's talk about the actual in-ring of this match. So, I thought the in-ring overall of this match was pretty good. I did enjoy this match, at least for me, I did enjoy this match. I did enjoy the little kind of like face-off, if you would call it, between Stephanie Vauquer and Asuka. I think that was pretty cool. Potentially, you might have something between those two women in the future, which I hope we do, because I think that would be very cool. One thing I do want to note is when Asuka went to the top rope and I think Raquel was holding up Stephanie Vauquer and Ivy Nile, and then Asuka came off the top rope with a missile drop kick, taking out everybody, and I thought that was cool. Just to see from Asuka tonight, from obviously on a return match, that I thought that was pretty cool to see from her. One of the more important things to note, when Raquel Rodriguez was going for the Tejana bomb, she had Stephanie Vaquer pinned 1, 2, but then came Rhea Ripley, because we all know what's going on with Rhea and Raquel. They're obviously continue to build tension between the two, and Rhea Ripley came out and pulled out Raquel Rodriguez, and that obviously costed Raquel the entire match, because Rhea Ripley would hit Raquel Rodriguez with the Riptide on the outside, then throw her back into the ring for Asuka to hit her finisher and then win the match. So, like I said, as far as the in-ring of this match went, I thought it was very great. I like I did say as well, I do want to see a potential match between Asuka and Stephanie Vaquer in the future. I think that would be very cool. But yeah, the in-ring aspect of this match was pretty good in my opinion. Like I said, I did not really care for the winner because I wanted Stephanie to win personally, but that's okay. But yeah, this was an overall good match, but now let's jump into the next part of this Raw. Alright, moving on, we did have our weekly Judgment Day segment, like we do every single week, and basically everything that had happened here was, first, Liv had walked in, asked Raquel, or told Raquel, let's go figure out what's next with this whole Kyrie and Io Sky situation. And Raquel basically had just responded with, well, I'm not cleared right now at this point in time, so there's nothing I could do, basically. And Liv basically responded with, okay, I'll just go handle it myself then, and obviously a pretty like a mean attitude, basically. And that was the end of Liv, so Liv did walked out. And then we had traversed over to JD, Finn, and Dominic. JD had basically asked why he's facing AJ Styles this week on Raw, which we'll get into later in the night. And Dominic had told JD, well, Styles has been on my back about this with my Intercontinental title and all that recently, so I figured brother to brother, you could help me out. And then Finn was like, hey, don't worry, JD, I'll be out there with you anyways. And then Dominic had told Finn, Finn, you were supposed to basically handle AJ Styles a couple weeks back, but tonight I think it's better that you stay in the Judgment Day clubhouse and hold down the fort here. And you could see Finn with his facial expressions got kind of pissed off. But then he had told Dominic, you know what, I think that's a great idea, but then you should go out with JD this week. And then that was the end with the whole JD and Finn thing, because obviously they were going to JD's match, of course. Then we had seen a little bit of an interaction between Raquel Rodriguez and Finn Balor. Finn had basically just told Raquel, don't worry about what Liv said, I think you've been basically doing great recently. And that was the end of that. And then we had Finn talk to Roxanne, basically just continuing to talk about the whole Queen of the Ring situation there. And then that was really it for the entire Judgment Day segment this week. Pretty cool to see some tension being built, potentially with a future split between Liv and Raquel, of course. We could see that in the next coming months after what we had seen here tonight, I think, 100%. But yeah, that's really the main takeaways from the whole Judgment Day segment tonight. But now let's jump into the next part of the show. Alright, moving on to one of the more interesting things of the night, we did have Gunther obviously come out, and he's obviously the new World Heavyweight Champion because he beat Jey Uso last week's Raw main event for the world title, and he got it back. So this week, Gunther had basically came out saying that at WrestleMania, Jey Uso was the better man for one night, but every other night, I'm the guy. I'm the guy I'm the guy that should be carrying the world title, and I'm the guy that's more dominant, basically. And then he went on about that, and then the crowd started chanting Goldberg, because we all know about those rumors right now at this point in time. And then Gunther was like, he's not, those are just rumors. I handled that guy months ago. And then, obviously, what happened? Goldberg. So, yeah, Goldberg came out, of course, and basically told Gunther that, basically, sort of showing some respect to begin with. But then he had said, we still have unfinished business that I'm going to end, basically, telling Gunther that you're next. And it had became official that Gunther and Goldberg will have a match at Saturday Night's main event on July 12th. And yeah, I mean, that's really the main takeaway there, is that we have from how it's been rumored, we will have the Goldberg versus Gunther at Saturday nights, at this next Saturday night's main event that we have in 3 weeks from Saturday, I believe it is. But yeah, that's really all that happened there. Pretty cool that we have Goldberg having in a match again, but really nothing too special. Just cool to see Goldberg again. But yeah, let's jump into the next part of the show now. All right, now continuing on throughout the night, we did have AJ, like I mentioned actually in the previous clip, we did have AJ Styles versus JD McDonough, and I really do think this was a good match, in my opinion. I think this was an excellent match. Lots of nice technical work, in my opinion, from at the start of the match and just for the entire match, in my opinion. Obviously, AJ Styles did end up beating JD McDonough like he should. One thing to note, AJ Styles had gotten distracted at one point throughout the match on Dominic Mysterio, of course, because obviously AJ Styles wants the Intercontinental title and he wants to take down Dominic Mysterio. So AJ Styles at one point in the match had gotten distracted by Dominic, and he had pretty much chased him pretty much all the way out into the fans, all the way out into the crowd almost. But before AJ Styles could continue the chase, JD and McDonough came around and obviously attacked AJ Styles, which eventually led to them, obviously, that chase with AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio ending, and then the match obviously continuing back in the ring, of course. Like I did say, I think this match was great. Obviously, Styles ended up winning off of a Styles Clash. So that was and either way, it's just really cool to see AJ in the ring time and time again. I think it's just really cool to see AJ week after week, in my opinion. Obviously, like I said, AJ Styles, of course, did win. At the end of the match, after Styles had picked up the win, we did have Finn come out because AJ had attacked. Dominic had actually ran in the ring after the match, but AJ had obviously taken him out, which led to Finn coming out to stop the attack on Dominic Mysterio. And then the three, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough, they kind of set up like a classic Shield kind of thing, or just classic tag team in general, surrounding the ring, of course, and trying to take out Styles. But Styles had outsmarted them, and Styles had rolled out of the ring and gotten away, and he actually took the title with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that really plays out with obviously Styles now having the title. Obviously, he's not the champion, but he does have the title in his presence, of course. Like Dominic Mysterio does not at this point in time have it. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out over the next couple weeks. Realistically, I cannot wait for AJ to end up taking this title off of Dominic Mysterio. It is cool to see Dominic as champion, but AJ Styles is kind of one of those guys, at least for me, that kind of got me into the wrestling. One of those guys that I really took to many years ago. So I can't wait till AJ obviously does win this Intercontinental title in the next coming weeks, potentially. But yeah, the match, in my opinion, was pretty good, and no bad comments from me on my honestly. I thought it was a really decent match. But now let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? All right, so moving on deeper to the night, we did have Bayley obviously come out, and she returned last week, but now this week she was here basically just to address Becky Lynch. Now, starting off, Bayley came out and just pretty much saying how thankful she is to be back in the squared circle, basically just thanking us, the fans, for continuing to cheer her and just thanking us for everything that we've given her, basically, pretty much. And then Bayley, she went on about that for obviously a good while, but then she had went into basically that with Becky Lynch, and basically saying that Becky Lynch, you've basically taken a lot from me, and I'm here to basically kind of get it back in a way, or just get back at you. I'm here to retaliate, basically. And then that's when we had obviously Becky Lynch end up coming out, of course, like we expected, and basically Becky Lynch, obviously just saying that, asking Bayley, do you even remember basically what it feels like to be a champion? Kind of just throwing that in Bayley's face, because it's been a good amount of time now, and just Bayley hasn't been on top like she has been in the past. So Becky Lynch threw that in her face just to kind of put Bayley in her place, in a sense, right there. And then obviously after that, we did have just Bayley telling Becky, well, why don't you show me, Becky? Why don't you remind me what it's like to have gold, basically. And then she had told Becky to basically get off the ropes, basically, because Becky was obviously backing up from Bayley, and Bayley was telling her, why don't you step to me? Come on, why don't you step to me? prove your dominance that you think you have, basically. And then that's when we went. To Becky Lynch saying, "You want a match? You want me?" And then she said, "Well, not tonight. Not here in Green Bay, obviously." And Becky had even said, "Not even for my title either." And then Becky was gonna walk out, and then Becky had turned around to try to take a cheap shot on Bayley. That didn't work out, and then Bayley hit Becky Lynch with a nice forearm. And that took out Becky Lynch, and that was really the end of the promo there. So really the main things to note here, Becky continues to be pretty much delusional, showing that she's being selfish, pretty much. She's not caring about others. I mean, she completely blew off Bayley when Bayley, she threw the fact that in Bayley's face that you don't know you haven't known what it's like to be on top for a good amount of time now, basically. And so that just continued, stuff like that, and this promo continued to show just kind of the delusionalness and selfishness from Becky Lynch, like we've been seeing with this whole new Becky Lynch character that we've had since the Raw after WrestleMania, of course. But yeah, that's really the main takeaway there. Obviously, we will have a match at some point with Becky Lynch and Bayley, of course. But yeah, those are really the main takeaways of that promo. But now let's jump into even deeper into the show. Alright, after that we did have a short little segment with Jey Uso and obviously Kathy Kelly. So Jey Uso just saying that, I lost my title last week, but in this King of the Ring, I'm gonna win this King of the Ring, and I'm gonna get my title back, basically. So I just wanted to mention that out there, just to get that out there, of course, because that's one thing that's Jey Uso is going to definitely be important in the world title picture over the next coming months, of course. So I just figured I'd get that out there. It was really, really short segment, just literally Jey Uso saying that I'm gonna win this King of the Ring and get my title back, basically. But yeah, that's really about it there. But now let's jump into something a little bit more interesting. Now, for the next part of the show, I really wasn't going to cover this just because it really wasn't a match, because it was supposed to be a match between Liv Morgan versus Kairi Sane, but unfortunately Liv Morgan did end up getting hurt. It was updated that it was actually a dislocated shoulder, I believe. I think that's what it was. So obviously there was no match, and unfortunately Liv did suffer a dislocated shoulder, so Kairi Sane did win by the fact that Liv Morgan could not compete. And yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I was actually looking forward to that match because it's just something I wanted to see, and unfortunately it didn't happen. But we move on, and hopefully Liv Morgan's alright, but that definitely does suck. But let's move on to more of a mood enhancer. Alright, now moving on, we did have our main event of the night, which was the last first round King of the Ring qualifier, and that took place between Rusev, Sheamus, Jey Uso, and Bronson Reed. And I actually thought this match was pretty good. For one of my main reasons, just for me, I think I did find it cool that obviously Sheamus and Rusev were in there. Obviously, we know that we're probably going to have a match with them two, just them two later on sometime down the road, of course. Obviously, they do have some tension between each other and a feud, of course. So I did think that was kind of cool that it was implemented into this King of the Ring match. As far as the winner, we obviously, Jey Uso, the Yeet Man, did obviously end up winning this match. And honestly, I think everybody saw this coming. In the end, we did have Braun Breaker come out and try to help Bronson Reed basically win the match. That didn't, but obviously in the end, that didn't end up working because we did have Sami Zayn come out and start attacking Braun Breaker, but Braun Breaker did actually get the upper hand on Sami and take out Sami. But that wasn't all, because we even had Penta come out and then he attacked Braun Breaker, which actually ended up taking out Braun Breaker, and that allowed Jey Uso to pretty much get the upper hand on Bronson Reed, hit him with 2 Uso splashes, and then get that 1, 2, 3. And then the match was over, and Jey Uso is advancing to your semifinals. And at the end of the match, we did have a little thing between, obviously, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins had came out post-match, or after, pretty much right after Jey Uso had won. He came storming out because obviously he's pissed off that his guy Bronson Reed lost and his guy Braun Breaker lost as well in his qualifying match on last week's Raw. So yeah, Seth Rollins came out. He was pissed off. He was gonna take out Jey Uso. He took too long, obviously, and then out came Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes had stopped Seth Rollins from attacking Jey Uso, basically, and then Seth Rollins walked out, and then Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso had kind of sort of a stare down, if you would, I guess, but then they also did have sort of a celebration. Obviously, Jey Uso advances, but they did have the stare down because, obviously, Jey Uso will be facing Cody Rhodes in the semifinals, and as we know, those two are both allies, so it's going to be interesting in their match because now allies are going to have to fight now, of course. That really sums it up for the main event, man. Jey Uso obviously advances semifinals. We built more tension with the whole Rusev and Sheamus thing, and we even built more tension with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes and all them. So overall, I think this was a pretty good match in my opinion from an in-ring aspect. I like I said, I did see obviously Jey Uso winning, which I'm not even mad about. It's pretty cool that Jey Uso won, in my opinion. It would have been cool to see Bronson Reed move on, but, you know, it is what it is. It's cool that Jey Uso did advance, and he's going to the semifinals to face Cody Rhodes. But that really sums up the main event, and that really sums up the entire June 16th, 2025 Raw recap, man. You guys obviously let me know your thoughts on this show down below in the comments. Let me know if there's anything that I had stated that you maybe think, that you maybe just don't agree with, or maybe you think that just the entire show should have been played out differently. You guys let me know all that down in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and even turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I post a new video. And like I said, I hope you did enjoy this Raw recap, and without further ado, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.